Number 11. Measure of angle 7 is 2y minus 5. It's right here, 2y minus 5. And angle 4 is 3y plus 10. That's up here. 3y plus 10. Solve for y. Okay, well these two angles don't match any of the ones that we know about because this is outside, this one's inside, and they're opposite sides of the transversal. So what we need to do is we need to move one of these to an equivalent location and then solve. Well, I know if 3y plus 10 is up here, I can move it right down here because those are corresponding. So I'll do that. 3y plus 10 goes there. Now that they're next to each other, I know that together they're 180 degrees. So I'm just going to write 2y minus 5 plus 3y plus 10 equals 180. That's a minus. So I've got a 2 minus 3y, which gives me 5y. And then I've got a negative 5 and a positive 10, so it's going to be positive 5 equals 180. I subtract 5 from both sides. Gives me 5y equals 175. And divide both sides by 5. Y equals 35, and that's what I needed to find. 12. Given x, y, z, we're told that angle yxz is congruent to yzx. Okay, yxz, it's always going to be the one in the middle that you're looking at. So that's angle x congruent to angle z. Which sides are congruent? Well, we know that sides across from congruent angles are congruent. So side xy is congruent to side yz. And that's number 12. 13. ABC. Sides AB is congruent to AC. AB congruent to AC. Measure of DAC is 120. DAC is 120. What is the measure of ABC? We're working for this one down here. Well, we've got our congruent sides. We know that these angles are congruent. We can find this angle by subtracting this from 180. So 180 minus 120 is 60. So 60 is going to go right here. So if I subtract 60 from 180, that gives me 120 for these two angles down here. So if they're the same, I'll divide by 2, and that gives me 60 for the measure of angle ABC. 14. And all the angles for the following. In the interest of space, I'm just going to name one, explain it a little bit. If it says interior, we know it's between the two lines. Alternate means they're on opposite sides, so interior are these angles here. Alternate would be ones on opposite sides, so let's say 3 and 5 is one pair. We also know that 4 and 6 is a pair. Same side interior. Again, they're both interior. This time they're on the same side. We call them consecutive. Same side would be 3 and 6 or 4 and 5. So we're going to say 3 and 6. Same side again. This time they're exterior. So we have 2 and 7 or 1 and 8. So let's just say 2 and 7. Corresponding angles are in the same position. So if we pick angle 5 down here, we could pick angle 1 to be corresponding to that. So 1 and 5 are corresponding. We could also say 2 and 6, 3 and 7, 4 and 8. Vertical angles are any angles that are formed by lines crossing. It would be across from each other, so in this case we could say angle 1 and angle 3. We could also say 2 and 4, 6 and 8, 5 and 7. Number 15, we're given angle ABC. A is congruent to B. Determine the value of x. Well, if angle A is congruent to angle B, we know the sides across from them are congruent, so we can just say that 7x minus 10 equals 18. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. 7x equals 28. Divide by 7. X equals 4. That's what we had to find, so we are done. 15. 16, we're supposed to find the value of x, and we're given these angles. We know this is an exterior angle, and we know that it's equal to the sum of these two angles. So we're just going to do 2x plus x plus 10 equals 130. Combine like terms, we've got 3x plus 10 equals 130 minus 10. 10, 3x equals 120, divide by 3, x equals 40. That's number 16. 17. Find the value of x for a triangle whose angles have measures of x, x plus 20, and x minus 20. So it's a triangle, so we know they all have to add up to 180, so we just x plus 20 plus x minus 20 equals 180. Combine like terms, x plus x plus x is 3x. 20 minus 20 is 0, so 3x equals 180. Divide by 3, x equals 60. And that's what we had to find. Okay, down here we're looking for the measure of angle BDE. So if we outline BDE, B to D to E, we're looking for this angle down here. Well, there's a couple ways we could do this. The first triangle I see is this one. I know that all these angles here have to add up to 180, so I'm just going to do 90 plus 40 plus 30. So far, we have 160. All three have to be 180, so 180 minus 160 is 20. So the measure of angle B, D, E equals 20 degrees. That's 18. Number 19. Given 2 points, A and B, find the value of AB. Well, we've got points here, so we know we're going to use the distance formula. Distance equals square root x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Now the x1 would be this one here. This would be y1. This would be x2 and y sub 2. And we'll just plug those in. So we have d equals the square root of negative 3 minus negative 4 squared plus negative 6 minus 7 squared. Continue to simplify, keep our square root sign till the end. Negative 3 minus negative 4 is negative 3 plus 4, which is negative 1 squared. Keep the parentheses until you square it. Negative 6 minus 7 is negative 13 squared. And that will equal the square root. Negative 1 squared is 1. Plus negative 13 squared is 169. So this is the square root of 170. And square root that nearest tenth if we ask you for that. Or that is the correct answer there as well. Number 20. Given 2 points C and D, find the coordinates of the midpoint of CD. Okay. Formula for midpoint. The same midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. y1 plus y2 divided by 2. We're just looking for the average value of x and the average value of y. So x1 is negative 6, x2 is negative 4, so negative 6 plus negative 4 divided by 2, and negative 2 plus 10 divided by 2. Negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Negative 2 plus 10 is 8 divided by 2 is positive 4. And that is coordinates at the midpoint. You may also remember S, A, D as a shortcut. Stack them, add them, divide by 2. We could do that right here. Negative 6, negative 2, and negative 4, 10. We add them. Negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. Negative 6 plus 10. Let me see, that's negative 2. That would give us 8 divided by 2, so that's negative 5 and 4.